Jean-Pierre from the Royal St. Lucian Seamoss Company, and I am doing um, a live stream with another friend of mine in the Seamoss industry, and I'm just waiting for him to join us. That would give a chance for some people to come in there and see what we're going to talk about. I believe the topic of this live stream today, I'm pretty sure, is going to be about discussing about how we can work together in the CMOS industry for everybody. And so, yeah, let's give him a minute or two to join. That being said, what's up, Sean Wilson? Big blessing, no stressing, just, or what is it? I don't know. It's been a while since I've done this saying, but it's something about big stressing all day blessing. You know what I mean? That's my bro, Sean Wilson, great guy, and yeah. So, what is taking him so long? Let me see if he's having some trouble. Is everything okay? You know how it is with this stuff. It's always glitches here, glitches there. Oh, there he is. He's joined. Hey, what's up?
Greetings, brother. How are you?
I can't hear you. Maybe it's my volume. Oh, sound's not coming through. No sound.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Wonderful. How are you?
Good. Oh, that's it. Hold on one second. So it's big stressing, or sorry, no. Big blessings. That's it. Big blessings, no stressings, just real life lessons. My buddy Sean Wilson, he has this tagline, and I was trying to say it earlier, and I couldn't remember it. And then he gave me the last little bit, so I had to say it because it was cool. So what's going on? Can I call you
Yeah.
John? How do you want me?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. What's going on? I'm speaking to you from Kingdom of Pineal. We're an extraterritorial jurisdiction situated in Portugal. But today, obviously, we're talking CMOS and natural healthcare. So yeah, I'm here just pushing health and wellness and reminding people of their sovereignty and their king and queenship. So yeah, it's good to connect with you.
Yeah, like before we get into CMOS, that piqued my curiosity. So the area you're living in, you guys have made it like your own little sovereign country within Portugal and stuff. That's
Yeah,
awesome. How did that
yeah.
work?
So as you know, as all of us know, as long as we don't forget too quickly, the world seemed to be in a very crazy state, right? We saw pretty much the whole world just boom, almost switch off. People started to wear masks and take all these peculiar medications. And in 2019, I kind of went through. Most of my friends thought I was crazy, really, because I was
Mhm.
like, something is coming. Like God or my inner guide was saying, something big's coming. You need to make a drastic change. And then 2020 came, and I set up a business in London delivering fresh fruits, vegetables, and herbs, just to get people prepared for whatever was about to come.
Mhm.
And then I got invited to come to Portugal to come and see the land that I'm on now. I met with a guy at the time who was called Martin Kenny, and they'd set up this community here. And yeah, my idea was really just grow fruits, live off the land, be in the sun. And
Uh-huh.
then it went from that really to, no, we're actually here really to liberate people, to liberate this land and country, and to show people how to do it. So as of December 2020, the Kingdom of Pineal was born. And yeah, it's a collective of sovereign individuals who know their law, their God-given law. And yeah, the land we're on is protected by natural and common law. So yeah, it's a little different to your um, average way of being, but yes, it's amazing.
Wow, we definitely will have to do a show just based on all of that. Like that is very exciting, and you know, I got so many more questions I kind of want to ask you about it. I
Yeah.
know I don't want to take it too away from the CMOS because that's what we came here to talk about and stuff like that. So, how do you want to start talking about the CMOS?
So usually at the moment, so I know you guys. I've been studying St. Lucian Seamoss Company like ever since I really stepped into this space. I
Mm-hmm.
think I read a little bit that you really got into this game in 2019, if that's right.
Yes.
So we roughly peaked at the same time, like the interest.
Mm-hmm.
And since coming into this game, I realized that there's hundreds, if not thousands, of companies that are doing CMOS. And I
Mm-hmm.
found that so many are focused on just taking pictures of their moss or like holding a jar of gel or, but it seems a lot of competition. And I noticed like you're in the same kind of boat. You started the like membership club on Facebook, if you will, like really just connecting everyone.
Yep.
And I found that the more that we connect each other to our audiences, it doesn't take anything away from us. It actually expands the industry, expands people's knowledge of moss and natural healthcare. And the
Mm-hmm.
more that we expand, the bigger the industry becomes,
Mm-hmm.
the more health and wellness people receive. And that's really what it's about. Like for
Mm-hmm.
me, I run off of a model which is like a triangle. And at the top of the triangle is our people, and then it's the planet, which are kind of on the same, and then the profit comes after.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look after the planet and you look after the people, the profit will just happen anyway. Like you don't even have to think about that; it just happens.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's natural.
the idea of really connecting with you was really just to merge our two mindsets together, because we're stronger when we're together than we are as separate links.
For sure.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, I just want to cut you off 1 second and just illustrate a point that you're saying about how everybody grows together, because I was talking about that to somebody, and what I use to illustrate it is like, okay, most people have this idea that there's only 100 people, or there's a finite number, say in the CMOS space, there's only 100 people buying CMOS. So it's like if I don't get this person, someone, and then that's it, because they're always like the market's saturated. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, the market's not saturated. What you have to do is go out and just build or develop the business. Just introduce it to the people, get more people into the space, because what happens is that there's only so many people, or sorry, there's only so many people you can serve.
Yeah.
And you can serve. And after a certain point, so you know what I mean? And not everybody's going to buy from everybody, one person. So it doesn't mean like just because there's already 5 people in the space doesn't mean that there can't be a sixth, because you're going to do it differently. And not only that, but you're going to bring new people into the space. Everybody, like I bring new people, you're bringing new people, everybody's bringing to the whole collective. It's like last year there might have been 100,000 people in the CMOS. This year there's 200,000 people into CMOS, because
Exactly.
everybody that's into CMOS is telling everybody, you know what I mean? And it's like, do you remember that shampoo commercial where it was like, and she told 2 friends, and she told 2 friends, and so on, and that's how we got to think about it.
Yeah.
Just
Really.
tell 2 friends, and the
Yeah.
market
Yeah.
will be saturated.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree. I agree. And I want to just plug in and add to that. It's like if you literally imagine it like sea moss. So when you get a dry piece of sea moss and you put it in water, the sea moss grows to however big the bowl is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same. Like it starts off, the sea moss industry right now is like this. The moment we start to flood it with our energy, it just grows naturally, like the moss does itself. So
But
there's space for everyone.
here's what I want to clarify. The CMOS industry is only this big for us. In the world, it's already this big. It's
Yeah.
massive. Do you know what I mean? I've been doing some research into the other countries and what they're producing and how they're producing it and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, Indonesia makes 60,000 tons. 60,000 tons a year.
Mm.
That's a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I think that's it as well. Is a lot of people have come into this space through researching alkaline or Dr. Sebi. Most people I interview or ask, I'm like, oh, how do you know about CMOS? They're like, oh yeah, Dr. Sebi, I read something. and then they go, oh, it contains 92 of 102, and it's like that same, that same narrative. But then I'm like, oh, did you know that carrageenan is used in almost all food products that you go and see? Oh,
Yeah.
did you know that agar was also Seamoss? Did you know that they use it in cosmetics? Did you know they use it in, and there's a whole list of the industry's already been using it for as long as we can go back, really. So really or the general consensus of what I see the CMOS market to be are very much zoomed in and focused on this kind of niche. But actually the moment we start to zoom out and we look at it from outside of our own preference, there's so many uses for moss that we just have to think outside of the box. And this is what I'm really trying to like drive into people. It's like, okay, like recently I took on a client who does breath work, like the deep breathing. And I'm like, cool, did you know CMOS is good for the lungs? So let's create you a blend that's for the lungs. And now your little niche is your niche. Like the breathwork people are gonna go to you, win. Someone who looks after dogs, like, did you know you can add CMOS to dog food? Now your niche is gonna win. But we're all winning, we're all connected. So yeah.
And that's what we need to do, is start breaking through this premise that it's only made for alkaline people or people fine, and just to teach the world to it. And let's just grow because I don't know about you, but for me, my experience with CMOS has taught me that it's more than just health. You know what I mean? There's a spiritual aspect to this plant, and that the more you consume it, the more you can allow yourself to become spiritually aware. You know what I mean? And your mind opens. I've seen what it's done even to my partner's kid, who like has grew up on CMOS. This kid is like, he can almost speak to you with his mind. He is so spiritual and hyper aware. It's crazy. And it's like, to the point where it's like he'll look at you and know who you are and what you're about. Do you know what I mean? Before you even notice. And I've watched him do it. And I've watched him like meet people, and some people he's just like connects with, and other people he's just like, you know what I mean? So we watch him to see how he acts around people, to know whether or not we can trust that person or not. You know what I'm saying? And it's the CMOS.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, because I've got some stories on that too as well. And then I guess you can address the comments. But like, for you, what was it that inspired you to get into the CMOS? Like, what was your trigger, your point? Because I guess you come from a melanated or Caribbean background, so most of us were given this really thick drink from one of our grandmas or aunties, and it's like, when you're a kid, you don't like it, But like later on down the line, it must have come back into your field. Like, what was the trigger for you?
So the trigger was a friend of mine who called me up and was telling me that he had changed his diet, and he started this business making alkaline recipes. And that's where he was kind of like, you remember the CMOS we used to take? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, bro, there's so much of this and this and that. And I was like, really? It's good for your health? Like, we always knew it as kind of like, good.
Yeah, make your body strong.
Yeah, good, right? And so that was sort of, that was Kenya Francis, and he has a company called Vegan Electric, very good guy. And he was the one who sort of opened my eyes to it. And so I tried it. And it took me a while to find someone that had it, because it wasn't something that was common in Toronto. And so I found a lady who was making it. I bought it and I tried it, and it was kind of like, oh, what the hell is this? And I took it, and my brain just blew up, and I had such a profound change, and like just the energy and stuff like that was just off the charts. And to answer Sean's question, like, can you overdose on CMOS? It depends. Like, I don't totally believe that you could, but it's possible with high. If you consume a lot over a long period of time, there is a chance that you could get high levels of iodine, and that could be sort of have a negative effect on you. So my view is kind of like, no matter what CMOS you take, if you're taking it for a considerably long time and consistent basis, that you'll want to get your blood levels checked, just to make sure that you're not overdoing it and stuff like that. So I don't think I could overdose, because I'm taking way more than the 2 to 4 tablespoons. I take maybe a quarter of a cup when I take CMOS, and so you can't overdose on it. So that was what got me into it, like curious about CMOS, And then the research I did, you know, trying to find, because like everybody, they start, this is what I believe. And this is funny that everybody says the sea moss is fake. I believe everybody, for the most part in North America, they tend to start on this fake sea moss, right? But this fake sea moss gives you results, enough results to want to go and find better sea moss. So how could that sea moss be fake? It does. It had a reaction to me. I know. And when I asked her where she got it from the Trinidadian store. And then when I looked in the Trinidadian, I see this, ugh, like this got mold, this got this and that. So, you know, then I find out, wait a minute, some of the best sea moss is coming out of St. Lucia. And I'm like, my dad is in St. Lucia right now. Like I could just go visit him and go make some calls, and you know what I mean? Boom, bam. And so that's pretty much what I did. And I went down there and I met my business partner, and he just blew my mind when, you know, we started going around the CMOS community and stuff. And it was funny. I asked him questions. Well, what about this 92-minute? He's like, what? Like no one even has a con. Like they've been taking it for years. No one takes it because it's got 92 minutes. It's because it's healthy for you. So he thought that was amazing. He also thought it was amazing and crazy that we in North America don't boil the CMOS. Everybody in the Caribbean boils the sea moss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, yeah. So then I met him. We saw the links and the connections that he has, and that was it. We fell in love. I think I really fell in love with being in the water. That was it. That was really that made me say, okay. When I started working on the farms and I started like planting and I started cleaning the moss and stuff, and you can go out there like 5 in the morning and be out there till 2 in the afternoon, just you know, with the waves, you know what I mean? And birds flying by and this and that. Is like, I'm like, I could do this for the rest of my life. Literally. Yeah, I don't give a shit about money. You know what I mean? On that water, let me touch the sea moss, you know, or even when you're walking and the sea moss grabs you. Have you been in the water?
No, I'm yet to tick these things off. So yeah, living it through you right now.
There's nothing more terrifying than having like not knowing what to expect from sea moss and having sea moss grab you in the water, because they will do that as you're walking. It will kind of like it's tangling things will like wrap around your leg, so you feel something on your, and you're just like, oh shit, what the fuck is that? And then you pull down, and it's this big, massive bush of sea moss. You know what I mean? And you're just like, yeah, you know. That's my, you know.
What's the craziest experience you had being in the water? Like, what's the most absurd thing that happened, or crazy animal or something that?
The one time that I think I almost got attacked by a shark.
I thought sharks, you know. I thought
Yeah.
sharks.
So we went up to this area called Monchy in north of St. Lucia to help my partner's friends because they wanted to start a farm, because everybody was building farms back then because it was like the money was crazy. So we go up in this like remote area and stuff, and it was a nice place. It took us like a while to get there. It's like way like no one's around. And so we're in this like bay area, and it's all soft sand, right? And it goes flat way out. And so we got there late. So when we were like, let's just put the markers on and stuff. But as we were putting the markers on, the sun went down. So I was out in the water, maybe about 20, 30 feet out, and it's pitch dark, and they were shining like a flashlight on me. So all I could see was the light, and I'm trying to hammer this stick in there. At maybe about 5, 10 feet, I hear this whoosh, like a whale tip. You know what I mean? Like this, like it was big. It wasn't like just a little fish. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh fuck, you know, and I get back in. And so I'm driving home with my partner, and he's kind of laughing, right? Because I told him about the sound, and he's like, yeah, you know, I didn't know how to tell you this. He's like, but that whole area, he's like, after you got out there, the guys told me that it was full of reef sharks in there. I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to scare you. I needed to finish the job. So he said the whole time he's shining the light, well, like, please don't let a shark come again. I was like, you motherfucker, like, you let me go out there with sharks? Are you crazy? He's like, yeah, sorry, boss. So that was a crazy story. Yeah. But there's lots more, but that was one crazy story. That was one crazy story, being in the water for sure.
Wow. So you really lived it, man. That's good. I feel like I think that's what separates as well. Like I said, I study people a lot. I'm really interested in people. So when I studied, at first when I saw your page like a little while before, I didn't really go too deep. But recently I've been looking a bit more deep at, because I've been studying the market a lot, and I really feel the people that are doing the best are the ones who actually care, and the ones who are actually doing it for the right kind of intention, or are actually on the ground, or they know the people, or they're doing it on behalf of people. And the people I see doing it for the profit are the ones who are struggling, or they're like, oh, I can't find anyone. It's like, yeah, because you don't care.
Mm-hmm.
No, you don't actually care.
No, bro, because they're always squeezed. You know how many people, like, I have a lot of friends that are farmers, and they're constantly calling me and not really complaining, but just kind of like these guys, stressing. And I don't think a lot of these guys are really understanding how far they're actually pushing these guys. You know what I mean? Like, yes, you want it for $5 a pound, but you realize that it costs them more than $5 a pound to produce that stuff. His time, his energy, even getting to the stuff to the plane. There's all a cost to that. The gas is high, everything. So it's like, why don't you pay these guys what they're worth, or at least what they're asking for? Do you know what I'm saying? And then the one thing I know, at least from business, it's like the money is not made on the cost of the goods. The money is made on the sale.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So I could pay any price for the Seamoss. If I have enough sales, I'm going to make a profit. So you're trying to make more money in your business, and you're attacking the wrong thing. You're attacking the one thing that's making you money.
Yeah, it's the farmers. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I have guys that will pay more than everybody else for the Seamoss because they want that product. Do you know what I'm saying? When they need it, they got to have it. And it's almost like the difference of like you having the product and not having the product is like by $2. Like, literally, like, I can go down to anybody, any of these guys that have a relationship with these guys. Well, I don't say anybody, but I'm pretty certain, confident that I can go to most people, offer them $2 more, and they will give it to me. And they will tell the other person, yeah, storm came, or this came, or something. I don't have the moss. Like, if your guy suddenly doesn't have any moss, and it's for weeks, it's because he's selling it to someone else for more money. And rightly so. It's a business. You know what I mean? So don't put your business at such a vulnerable risk. Like, don't create that vulnerability. Pay them what they want so that they're happy. And it's to the point, like, most of the guys that I work with, sure, they'll sell Seamoss here and there to some other people, especially if I'm not buying. But if I call them and say I want the Seamoss, they're going to make sure I have the Seamoss because they know I always pay. I pay good price, and I'm consistent. I'm coming back every other week, every couple. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I feel a lot of these guys are making mistakes in their business. Is that they're not treating this guy. They're not making him happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Agreed. I had a question as well. Like I said, I like to study people. On the land that I'm on now, we've got bees.
Yeah.
I see you're into the bees. I wanted to hear a little more about that. And
yes, I'm an avid beekeeper. I love bees. Maybe one day I'll even see if we can travel there and do something with bees.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very committed to the bees. In fact, the initial business that I wanted to start. See, I always felt that God was calling me to St. Lucia to do a business or multiple businesses. And overall, I was telling this to a friend of mine today. It was the whole premise is I'm here to show people how much St. Lucians, how much opportunity they have in their own land, and how much is available to them, and how easy it is. My dream is that they'll see what we're doing, and I think people have seen what we're doing, and they're starting to copy us. Do you know what I'm saying? I want people, like, I want that happening. That's part of the plan. That's why I'm showing everybody what I'm doing. Do you know what I'm saying? It's because the more people that join this industry, the more people that get involved, the more people that, you know what I mean, the industry grows. And that, like I said, I believe God's put me on a mission to open the eyes of St. Lucians, to show how much ability they have, so that a foreigner does not come in there and sort of take control of what is really their blessings.
Yeah.
So I forget where I was going on that.
No, it's good. The bees. I wanted to know
Oh,
about
the
the
bees.
bees and
Yes, yes.
yeah,
That was the original thing, was I was going to get into bees and bring the bees. So I still plan to do a bee business in St. Lucia. It just was one of those things where Seamoss kind of took me off into a different direction, but I think it's going to come right back and stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Are you doing the bees? Are you in St. Lucia now, or are you in?
No, I'm in Toronto right now,
Mhm.
and I think I can show you my outside window. No, it's not bad. The window needs. But yeah, I'm in Toronto. It's not bad. It's pretty sunny here, but it's like winter time. And so we have bees here. I have 6 hives right now. I plan to bring them up to about maybe 20 by the end of the season through splits and doing swarm catching. So I'm going to catch swarms and stuff like that. And yeah, I think this year like last year we had some honey to produce. We had some honey, but this year is going to be a lot more. And so I'll probably do this for the next year or two to learn the commercial aspect here in Toronto, and then I'm going to start moving build an operation similar to that in St. Lucia.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, and then I want to market that honey as exotic honey around the world and kind of say like this is like high-end premium honey. Yeah.
Wow. Amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I see one thing I learned with the honey is when you change the environment of the bee, they then take pollen from different plants, and then the colors of the honey changes, the taste changes.
Yeah.
So that the honey we have, some of it's from they get it from the lavender. On the other side of the land, they're getting it from something else, and it's totally different, you know.
All the time, and that's something that I've been studying and I want to sort of promote with St. Lucia, is that like all these honeys, they're like wines. They have different flavors, different profiles, textures. Some years are different than others and stuff. And so my goal is kind of be like a honey tasting expert and to be able to sort of find these rare blends or these seasons of honeys that we're doing that we can market and say, oh, this has, this flavor profile, and this has that flavor profile from 19 or 2025 or this and this and that, you know what I mean? And then just grow the bee industry. But then also put in things in place like a queen production program so that we can produce queens to give to people so that they can develop their own apiaries. I have a plan in my head on a way to do a co-oping strategy where anybody that wants to get into beekeeping will be able to give them the equipment, give them the bees, give them all the stuff, manage them, and all they got to do is take care of the hive. And when the honey is produced, they sell the honey back to us. But I have a key strategy, whereas they won't be required to sell all their honey to us. Okay, that's one of the things I'm always going to do with my partnerships with people, is I'm going to make it so that they can't just it's a partnership rather than an employee worker relationship. I don't want to do employee worker relationships. I want to do partnerships because I want to teach people how they can be independent on their own. And so if I take all the honey and force them to sell it to me, then how are they, what I mean, having the joy of being their own businessman? So the idea is take, say 80%. If they want to give us honey 100%, then it's fine. But at least 70, 80%, you give it back to us. And I think that's fair considering we're controlling all the hives and stuff. We'll sell it to you. You'll make money for it. But if you find someone else that wants more for the honey, or you want to sell your own little bit of honey here, you can take 20% of the production and put it towards that. And really, how big your production depends on you. So if you want to sell more honey, you just increase the production, sell some to us, sell some on your own. It's a great partnership.
Wow, yeah, I really resonate with that.
Yeah, thank you.
That, yeah, like I said, like coming to this community, the big thing was self-sufficiency, is learning to be unplugged from the mainstream systems, learning how to put seeds in the ground, growing up food, supplying our own electricity, looking after the water that's here, and that's actually the most empowering thing. If you ask me something that turned me from like boy to man, it was realizing that, we grew up, you turn a tap on, water comes out, you go to a store and you buy your foods, but someone's grown all of that. Like someone has actually used their time and energy to do all of that. When you're in a position where you have to do it yourself, even like you creating the honey with the bees, working with the bees, like nature always provides for us. And that's the biggest way of actually realizing. And I fully resonate with what you said. People in mineral rich countries and resource rich countries like the Caribbean, where there's fruits literally rotting on the floor because they don't value them. The same fruit I was selling for £50 for one in London at times.
Yeah.
In 2020, a soursop was £50 for one. And there's a guy I live with here. He was saying in his garden in St. Lucia, they were rotting on the floor.
All the time, bro. Everybody's got soursop. Like I got a soursop tree in my backyard. Like it just grew, and it's not like I planted it there. It was always there. You know? Like there's fruit, and when you said that, literally in mango season, like you got to watch your step because you will, like, you know how they slip on bananas, you slip it on mangoes everywhere. Mangoes everywhere.
That's like heaven.
Yeah. And everybody's got a mango tree or two trees or a tamarind tree, you know. So there is so much opportunity there, but you know they're trained to believe that they don't deserve it, or they, you know, mean they can't achieve it, or it, you know, we need the help of someone else, which is like disgusting. Even in the government, bro. There was times where I had meetings where I had to several times had to remind them, my partner is in the room. Like, you're speaking to both of us. You're not speaking to me. Why are you speaking to me? Like, that's rude. So, but that's just their mindset, because they figure this is the guy with the money, this is this and that. But you know what I mean, this person has nothing, and then that's not the case. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they have everything. They have everything. They have everything.
I could not do this business without my partner. I would not be there without him. I tell him that every day, all the time. He is the boss. I'm not the boss. You know what I mean? I'm just the face. I'm just doing the shit that he wouldn't feel comfortable doing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. I really resonate.
Thank you.
Yeah, really cool. Let's see if I got any more questions. So, you've kind of answered it already, but what makes you different from all the other moss companies that are around?
That's hard to say, because I would have to know all the other moss companies around, and I don't like to kind of, how do you say it? I don't like to talk myself up at the expense of talking someone down. So what I'll do is I'll go into why I think we are a good operation and what makes us, you know what I mean, one of the best, if not the best. I don't want to say we're the best. I don't know. You know what I mean? So I would say right off the bat, it would be our experience. My business partner has been in the Seamoss industry for over 7 years. He has done it all, from like making drinks and stuff. I think he first started selling out the drinks. His drinks are known across the island as some of the best Seamoss drinks in St. Lucia. I've seen this guy like literally not brought, I don't want to say brought people, but trust me, like you need to get into a spot, you know what I mean? And there's a security guard or something, like he keeps a case of Seamoss drinks in his trunk at all times. Like there's been times where people are like, "Hey, where's the drink, man?" You know, like, oh, here's the drink. Boom, boom, boom. Let's go. You know. So that would be him and his experience. I would also say the people around us, our network. We have probably one of the largest networks of people that we know within the Seamoss industry. You know, like we're part of 2 Seamoss associations. We're very close ties to the 3rd that's down there. You know, we know all the biggest exporters. So like guys that are even selling more than we are, we're friends with them, and we all work kind of together here and there. So if they need Seamoss, we can help get them. He's very fair and honest with the farmers. We pay good price, so we always get good quality. That, and we're just honest and we're straight, and we don't need bullshit. You know what I mean? We don't play games. This is what it is. And, you know, I know we offer kind of like fast service, great response time. Like you can call me at 11 o'clock at night and I'll answer my phone, and you can place an order, and I can, you know, try to get it shipped out the next day. Like there's no sort of off time for me. I'm always on. I'm always working. So that's one thing I think our customers like. It's just, the communication, how quickly I can be, reached. And then our CMOSs, we're very selective about what we ship and what we buy because we have such a large network. If there's a situation where someone's CMOS is not of the standard that our customers are used to, then we just don't buy it, right? But we're not forced to buy it because that's the only person we deal with. We deal with all these other people, you know what I mean? And so I would say those are some of the things that would kind of make us stand out well, Yeah.
And what advice would you give someone who's listening to this? They're inspired and they feel they want to start a CMOS business or something similar. What's your best advice to them?
Come see me and buy the CMOS from me, please. That's the best advice I could give. Buy from us. No, I'd say do your research, spend your time, know the market, understand the prices. Like before I launched the business, I spent about 2 months or at least a month researching, going on Etsy, creating spreadsheets. So I know what the other people are selling, whether they were in stock at the time or not, what products do they sell, this and that, what's their price points and stuff. And so by analyzing what everybody else was doing there, it opened my eyes to see what opportunities lied in between the stuff that they weren't doing. You know what I mean? Also, what works for them, what doesn't work for them. Another thing I did was I spent a lot of time in the comment sections of posts and reading stuff. So I really read into a lot of why, like what people were saying in relations to certain posts and stuff like that. So I understood that, reliability was important. Trust was very important. They want to make sure the CMOS is real, that kind of stuff. So if you notice all the stuff that I'm doing, I'm fully open book. I'm showing everything that I'm doing, where the CMOS is coming from, who we're getting. Like I show all my farmer friends, you know what I mean? They're all in the videos there. Like all those guys that you see, they're all, if it's not me in the video, it's generally someone that's doing farming. So I show them where we're getting it out of the water. And then I did the scientific research to understand what is the product I'm selling. That's the biggest confusion I have is all these people are selling a product and they want to make money on it, but none of them have done more than 5 hours research on it. The reason why I say that is because if you spend a good 5 solid hours researching, you will come across a documentation that will clearly, expressively show you that it is impossible for CMOS to get minerals from a rock. So the fact that all these people are saying that shows me that none of them are doing the actual research. They're just repeating what the person that turned them on to CMOS told them. And I understand that. And I'm not mad at them for that because it's like a broken telephone kind of thing. You know what I mean? But at some point, if we really want to get serious with this industry and we really want to make money, we need to break free from that.
Yeah, agreed.
It's holding us back. You know what I mean? And we as Black people have the ability to, get it. Why is Indonesia having all these sales? Why are we not getting into some of these markets? You know what I mean? Or even developing some of these products. Bro, there's a company, I have a health food store in Toronto, Richmond Hill. There's a company that sells seawater. They take the seawater and dehydrate it and has minerals in it, and people buy it, and they pay $50 for this thing. That's crazy. So, Relish Hughes, I'm bad with pronunciation. He says the minerals are in the water, and that's true. The minerals are in the water. In fact, the minerals are coming from the land.
Yeah.
So through my partner, he has a lot of connections with the people in the government and the Ministry of Agriculture. So he introduced me to the guy that is in charge of all the CMOS industry, and he's been in charge with it for a long time. So they've done missions to other countries to see how the stuff is done. They've done the research, and so he's literally like a scientist. He's a field officer, accredited training, whatever. And he told me that the CMOS grows off nitrates.
Yes, correct.
The nitrates come from the land. That's why our CMOS is sort of unique in particular, because the mineral-rich land that we have, when it rains hard, it pulls through the land, it captures those minerals through the dissolved nutrients, and then it goes out to the river and it mixes in with the seawater, and that's where a lot of our sea moss grows. And that, he says you can tell the best areas to grow are the areas where you see a lot of seagrass and not enough coral, right? Because the coral, and that's another interesting thing, because everybody's like, oh, it's got to be on the coral. Well, this is what I learned scientifically, is that coral can grow in nitrogen-rich water, and sea moss needs lots of nitrogen to grow and have fullness. So it's almost like, yes, you can find sea moss by coral, but it's not going to be as highly nutrient dense as that growing in an area with a high concentration of nitrogen that it needs to feed on, like in those grassy areas. Right? Yeah. So it all comes from the dissolved nutrients that flow in the water, and then it grows, and then that's it. Get the minerals off the rock.
That's a good point as well, because I learned recently that the algae, they actually produce a lot of oxygen as well. So the more farms that we actually put out there, the more we're actually helping with cleaning the air and giving ourselves purer air. So it's even more reason for us to be expanding this industry, because it's helping the environment anyway. So
listen, this fuel or demand for wildcraft is not to say it needs to stop, but they need to know the truth that really the wildcrafted sea moss and the stuff that's farmed, there's no difference. They're grown in the same areas. And not only does sea moss, how do you say it? Not only does it take the oxygen out there, it acts as a carbon filter, so it removes the carbon out of the air and puts in the oxygen, but it also creates food for marine life. It creates shelter for marine life. It creates what is it? When it goes through its sexual reproduction stage, it releases phytoplankton, which is used as food and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, amazing. And what makes me laugh as well is when I've spoken to people who talk about the one on the rock and the rest fake, are people who are eating everything from a supermarket.
Yes.
But everything they're getting is fake, apart from their sea moss.
Yeah. Which makes no sense. That's what I was saying to someone else, like on one of our posts on the group. They were like, oh, this is not natural. I'm like, well, okay, so then nothing you eat is natural then. You know what I mean? It's all cultivated by man. It's all grown on man. It's see, we can't keep putting these blanket statements on stuff, and because the truth is that it's how it's cultivated. How is it grown? What processes did you? Because you can cultivate something and grow it in a way that is highly beneficial to the product, that almost mimics the same wild conditions.
Yep.
And that's how I feel sea moss is, because with sea moss, there is no man intervention. Like, we're not adding inputs to the water. We're not, putting some kind of chemical to take away this species, insect or whatever. We're not. Hold on one second. Someone keeps calling me and they're not listening to my messages. Hello? Hi, Paul. Yeah, I'm doing a live stream. I thought, are you calling me from a landline, or because I sent you a text message back? Yes. Is it super important? Okay, can you tell me what it's about quickly? Yes, Paul. Yes. Yes, I'll talk to you about that. I'll call you as soon as I'm done. All right, go. Bye. Yeah, sorry, it was my uncle. And I'm also a real estate agent. So I sell real estate, and so he's just calling me about a property that he's looking at. Sorry about that. So it was kind of important to understand why he was calling me so much. But do you see how I am? Like, I'm available. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would have called him right back after this live stream, but he kept calling. And if you're calling me, I'm going to answer your call. I'm not going to dodge you. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. So what were we talking about before you interrupted?
So yeah, I just wanted to really just clear that up. Like you said, people say that the wild one that grows on the rock is the best and the other one is fake. I'm saying it's not fake. It's similar to when a farmer cultivates the rest of the food that we're eating. So I always have this thing where I say, if you're saying you're only going to eat the sea moss that grows on the rock, then I'm saying, well, you need to start growing your own stuff or learning to forage all of your food. If you're saying you can only take wild sea moss, you should only be eating wild greens and looking for wild fruits and wild everything. If that's your reasoning.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though. I've been there. I've seen it with my own eyes. It's the fucking same sea moss. I've tasted it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I've said, okay, I'm only gonna eat this one that this guy died for out of a different area or whatever. I'm gonna eat that for 2 weeks, and then I'm gonna stop for a week, and then I'm gonna start on the other stuff for 2 weeks and see what no difference.
Mm-hmm.
Not like I had massive more energy or anything like that. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it's grown the same way. In fact, a lot of it is the same sea moss because it breaks off from the farms and travels, or the stuff that's on the farm, it releases the sperm eggs and it travels and lands on these rocks and stuff. It's all the same. Do you know what I mean? And when it comes to man's, I think that's what I was talking about is man's intervention. The only thing that man does in the cultivation of sea moss is he takes it from a bunch, breaks it into pieces, and attaches it to something so it doesn't float away. That thing does not give it any nutrients, does not take any nutrients from it. It just dangles in the water. If he had just dropped it in the water and left it there, it would have been the same thing. Except when you went to go get it, it wouldn't be there. Sea moss doesn't require rocks to grow. It can grow anywhere. It can grow, like if there's like a dip in the ocean, the sea moss will all collect there and start growing like a bush. There's parts on the island, I don't know where, but I know they're there because people told me, where they said there's fields because the ocean dipped a bit and all the sea moss collected in there and it just stayed, it didn't fly off away and it just keeps growing and growing. And so, like you're saying before, this is important, like to create a natural balance in the ocean so that these organ and there's even studies that shown that when farming practices are done, that it increases the marine life in that area. And so there's more lobsters, there's more shrimps, there's more crabs, there's more fish. There's, you know what I mean? There's a greater biodiversity. So it's like I always say to people, if you care about the environment, you won't eat wild crafted sea moss. Period. Like if you're vegan, you shouldn't be eating wild crafted sea moss because that's the equivalent of killing an animal. Because when you rip that them out of there, you're tearing up their home. You know what I mean? You're making them more vulnerable to prey, and you're diminishing their stocks. So
yeah. I even watched a video of quite a popular company, and they literally clear the whole area of sea moss, and then they have to wait for it to reproduce over months. And so they're literally like sitting in the waters, making sure no one else finds that bit, just so they can get and for me that just sounded crazy. It really gave me more inspiration to go with a sustainable option. And for us, we lab tested ours because I was sick of hearing that the moss is fake or it has no nutrients. So we took it to a lab and we got it tested for some of the vital nutrients. And that was another big one. It's like every time I offer someone, okay, get it tested in the same lab and let's compare, because then we're not arguing. I've not had anyone say yes yet.
No, you won't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you won't, because they know deep down inside they know they don't know the truth. It's more of an opinion. But that's what I find a lot in society days, that there's too many people out here that are giving out their opinions like they're facts, and they're not.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying? So that's got to stop. It's this wrong. You know what I mean? And it's holding us all back. It's holding us all back from really growing because you're spending so much time arguing about whether or not this sea moss is real. It is, like, how can it not be real? Sea moss is sea moss. If it was fake, then it would have been made with a different material.
Yeah.
How can you make something fake from the same material that it's made from? That doesn't make sense. So it can't be fake, just by definition. You know what I mean? But like you said, like, you know, try it. You'll see it's the same sea moss. It's, you know what I mean? And it's better for the environment. It's actually safer for you. because
Mhm.
these guys are cultivating the CMOS. They're making sure that there's no bad shit coming in the area. Do you know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? There's no dead carcasses or animals in there, or there's no like like a shipwreck or something like that, or any kind of like passing ships. Like there's ways to get heavy metals in the ocean and shit like that. You don't want that in your system, you know.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, agreed. But
mhm.
yeah, I'm inspired, man. It was really good speaking to you. I'd love to catch you afterwards because there's a couple tons of CMOS we could do with speaking about. I really wanted to connect with you first before speaking about business because for me, like I said, people and planets first before it goes to the profits. But yeah,
But,
I'm really inspired. I see that you,
but
like
we've
I
talked
said,
times
yeah,
before, right?
yeah,
Because I
yeah.
remember your voice. I think you were on Clubhouse a couple times, right? Was it Clubhouse or something else we talked?
It was in the Facebook group that you have. And it was like we should speak, and I was just reluctant at first because I felt really again like the industry was like there was a lot of people preying on people with opportunity. There were people asking for shipments to be sent half out and then they'll pay it, and I was just like for now I'm
Yeah.
just gonna build organically from the beginning, and then yeah I started to really see. Um, I started to research a little bit more, and I started to research all the companies, and I came back round to yours, and I was like, okay, yeah, he cares. So
Mhm.
now's the time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad at the amount of people that are preying on a lot of these farmers and a lot of these people in St. Lucia. I hear stories all the time of people sending CMOS and not getting paid for it. They'll send the CMOS and the guy will say, "Oh, this is fake. Oh, this didn't gel up, and this and that," and it's just some bullshit, and they don't want to pay it. It's disgusting. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I can't wait till the industry grows to a point where it is hard, and that's one of the things I'm trying to do is make it harder for these guys to operate in this space. Because if you have
Yeah.
a guy like me that operates at a certain level, and all these guys are dealing with a guy like me, they're gonna go to the guy. Okay, well, you need to be like this guy. You know,
Mhm.
pay your CMOS up front until we develop a relationship, or this and that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like it helps sets the standards, I guess, and that's what I'm.
Have you ever thought about setting like a standard, like actually creating? Because I thought about this recently with the Vital Moss Collective. Is actually using it as a way to authenticate CMOS.
Yeah.
So before I promote anyone, it's like, okay, well, let's look at the CMOS first. Let it go through these processes. And then if you see this stamp, you know that it's been approved by people that care.
Hmm. So
So,
yeah, that is an idea that I have in the back of my mind. The stage I'm at is like, okay, how do I make it work? How do we protect this concept, like this standard or whatever? How do we make sure that if people are going to copy us, how do we ensure that they're going to keep up the same standard? Because if everybody like says, oh, this is the AAA grade, and we got our stamp, and all these other people say, oh, ours is AAA grade too, but it's not. It's going to diminish the whole concept. Do you know what I mean? So just trying to figure out those kind of like how to best approach it. But I do believe that in order for our industry in St. Lucia to grow faster or grow bigger, then we need to come up with certain standards because um how do I put it? It's like what you buy from me for say $20 is going to be different from someone that buy. You know what I mean? Not all, like sometimes everybody's going for the lowest price CMOS, and they'll be like, oh, I can get it for $6. Well, what you get for $6 is going to look nothing near what I sell.
mhm,
You know what I mean? So why am I selling my stuff, which is vastly superior than what you have for $6 for $6?
mhm, mhm.
But how do you argue with someone about that?
Yeah.
You create the
Yeah.
standard and say, well, my CMOS has these characteristics, and that's what it is. And not only that, but if we have that standard, then it will give the farmer, the independent farmer, more confidence because he'll
Yeah.
look, they will fucking St. Lucian CMOS, by St. Lucian CMOS standards, this is premium. I want premium price. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Then we could, it just creates more
It's more fairness.
huh?
It's just fair,
Fairness.
man.
Yeah,
Just
more
fair.
fairness in the industry.
Yeah, more fairness. Because
Yeah.
the more that the farmers and the harvesters are living well, the more that they can farm, the more people want to farm. That's how we all win.
Yeah.
So I'm with it, man.
Listen, there's something low key, like I'm going to, like I had predicted a long time, that's like starting to happen. Whereas the price of CMOS in St. Lucia went so low that no one was making money. So many people, like droves of people, have gotten out of it. There's areas where there was once flourishing in farms, no one's touched their farms for years, for months. You know what I mean? And so if it's almost like the price cannot continue to stay the way it is, because if it does, there's going to be like almost no CMOS for people to have. Do you know what I'm saying? We need to increase the price to get more people in it, so that they produce more, so that more people can have the CMOS that they need. Because right now, it's not to say that there's a shortage, but there is definitely a constriction in the market, especially for gold CMOS. And if it continues like this, then it's only going to get worse. Do you know what I mean? Now I know I'm covered, but I'm concerned about those that aren't. You know. So
Yeah.
that's where we're at. Here, let's go before you did another talk. There was a question someone asked earlier: which CMOS is most beneficial, or does it matter? No, it doesn't matter. But honestly, I don't know which CMOS is most beneficial. Each CMOS has its own sort of unique benefits. And so to say, because everybody says, oh, well, the purple is the best. Well, the best by what standard? Do you know what I mean? Like, what makes it the best? The best nutrients, the best this? CMOS affects everybody different. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't even touch the purple CMOS. You know what I mean? Because I feel like technically that's not the best. I think the best to take on everyday consistent basis use would be gold CMOS. And then if you want to change it up, if you need a detox, then take some green for a while. If you need a higher dose of iodine and a few other stuff, then take the purple for a while. But I don't believe, and I mean, I could be wrong. This is just my belief. It's not a fact. I don't believe that taking the purple CMOS on a consistent basis for long periods of time is beneficial to you. I feel that it works too hard on your body, and your body will then develop almost like a plateau effect, so that you really don't start feeling, even though the CMOS is affecting you, you won't feel the effects as much, which is part of the fun of taking it. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you don't feel like anything's different, then, you know, and your mind is like, well, why am I taking it? You know what I mean? So you kind of have to feel stuff, you know?
Yeah. From my experience, the purple, because my partner, she ate purple CMOS throughout pregnancy, and my baby is strong. I look at her now, I pick her up, she's 2 months, and I'm like, you're nearly the size of 1-year-olds. Her legs are thick, her face is thick. Like, if you stand her on her feet, she even takes some of her weight. I'm like, you're 2 months, you know? That CMOS did.
And I bet you the baby's like hyper aware, fully aware, notices everything.
She's looking you in the eyes. She's making she's been potty trained born. She pees in a potty. She's never worn a diaper.
Yeah. See what I'm
Crazy.
saying? Yeah. And that's the CMOS, because it allows you to vibrate at such a like high frequency that you become hyper aware. You see everything. Like, there's nothing my partner's kid passes that kid. You know, like, sometimes we just bring him around because he catches everything. Like, if someone tries to, he'd be like, hey, what are you doing with that there? Or what is this, that there? I'm just laughing because all the times we brought him around and he's caught some of the guys playing games or whatever, and he just, you know what I mean, come out of nowhere and be like, oh, isn't that my daddy's thing? What are you doing with that thing? And Yoshan. So yeah, it's the CMOS, man. You got to get, everybody should be getting their kids CMOS.
Agreed. So yeah, unless you got any more questions for me, I guess we can wrap up. I do want to take 5 minutes of your time after, just speak a quick business, see how we can, and go from there.
All right, for sure. Yeah, let's do that, and let's like, this was a great live stream. I really enjoyed it, and let's try to plan some of this, more often. And I'd like to even do another show where we go in depth about your the Pinel what do they call it?
The Pineal Foundation is the community. The country, the state is called the Kingdom of Pineal. You can find it at Pineal Foundation on Instagram and YouTube as well. And kingdomofpineal.org. We have our own passports and stuff you can apply for if you're looking to declare yourself as a living man or woman. And I do a sovereign course every Friday at 7:45 GMT, where I teach people how to return back to their king and queenship and stop being a slave to this system, and look at the language of words and how we've for so many years been putting ourselves in bondage or slavery through the words and contracts. I show people how to break those spells and contracts and put ourselves back into like really returning back to like owning ourselves, body, mind, and soul. So
and that's some ways how it is. It is these kind of spells, because when they're saying this stuff and stuff, you don't really see it in the forehand. It's happening in the back end of your mind, and when you become aware of it, you can break free of that. I've always felt that I was like living in sort of my own kingdom. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I develop my own. I do things differently. I always tell people, I live in this world. I go, I'm in this world, but I don't live in this world.
Not of it, yeah.
Yeah, or sorry, I'm not of this world. Yeah, because I know I do things where people are like, "Oh my God, how is he doing that?" Like, but it's like, to me, it's like, what do you mean? This is, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So some people call it a sovereign. So by definition, a sovereign is a king or queen or a ruler of a state. And if you look at a state, like you said, you're a real estate agent, right? A state. And we also have the state of mind. That's why you make statements, because ment in Latin means mind. And that's why you have governments, because they govern the mind. So when we become sovereign or free, we become the rulers of our state, which is our state. Like us as beings, we are our own nation. Yeah. So when we realize that we can take control back of our own state, that means we get control back of our estate, which is all our property, which has been taken as well through these contracts. And I say spelling because when you write something, what do? You spell it, right? If you want to write a word, you start to spell the word. So that's why all these contracts and stuff, like the birth certificate, all of it is, there's a lot of magic behind it that we weren't aware of. So.
And there's a lot of things that people are, and that's why normally I don't do this on the Seamoss show, but I feel in some ways this will help people like sort of break through a lot of the barriers that society has put on them and stuff. And like a lot of people don't realize that like our birth certificate and stuff is really like it's like a corporation, and that's why we're allowed to incorporate ourselves in our names, because that we are technically a business, and the country use our birth as a way to show value of their country, because this is like we are. Like, when you break it down, like you really realize, fuck, we are slaves, because the value of the country is based on our slavery.
Yeah, King Julien, man, you know.
Yes.
You know. Yeah, you're a sovereign heart.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'd love to go more deep on that on a special show where we can invite people to, because there are people in the group I know that are into this stuff, because they're always trying to post stuff and I'm always blocking their posts. But honestly, because I got to keep it Seamoss, right?
I hear it.
And if it goes to the point where we're talking about racism and this and that, that's a whole new group for that. Let's keep it Seamoss, because it's not all black people in that group, and I don't want it to be known as you know what I mean. So why are we putting that information? It's just not the right place. Not appropriate.
I agree. And for me, like, because of the nature of what I'm doing, like I said, 2020 I came here. I don't pay for electricity anymore. It's all coming from the sun. I don't pay for water. It's all coming from the wells and the springs. The food is growing in the ground mostly. So I now have a lot of time that's not going into like survival in the system. That's why I have so much time. And for me, Seamoss is a key to get to that free state. Like you said, it heightens the awareness, but also it's so nutrient dense that you don't need much.
You don't need to eat
so abundant to grow. Like it grows like crazy. So it's like if we can get in the spaces where we realize nature provides, we're one step closer to coming back to our real self, which is that it's totally abundant. Like we can be totally self-sufficient We just have to see it.
Mhm.
You know, we just have to see it. That's all.
Awesome. Yeah, I love to
Yeah.
do that. You know, like what you said about the feeding and stuff is true because I'm down to about a meal and a half a day. Like was
Yep.
where I would eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I don't even really eat breakfast, and I eat like late in the afternoon, and then I might have something just before going to bed if I'm like, because sometimes the tummy's growling, I can't sleep. But like other than that, I'm not really like the tummy is not growling. I'm not like I don't have hunger pains in the morning. None of that. You know. So,
Yeah, the same. We have one meal a day here. We have one meal a day at like 3 o'clock. The
mhm.
rest is just fruits and things throughout the day. But like
Yeah.
really, when you're eating correct and your mind's in the right place, you don't even really need to eat.
Yeah. And here's the thing, that's your point, like how you eat things to do. That's our natural way of doing things. We would forage and eat like we wouldn't set like 9 o'clock we're eating, 10 o'clock we're eating. That's a slave fucking tactic right
Like,
there.
yeah.
You know what I mean? We should be picking and eating bare. And when you look at people that do their weightlifting lifestyle and stuff, they'll eat shorter, smaller meals periodically through the day, like we're supposed to. Interesting.
Yeah. Very.
All right. Well, I don't want to get
Yeah.
too much deep into that, because we'll be here for another 4 hours.
Yeah. So if anyone does want to join, because I know this is an open platform, it's like if you do want to join and learn more about this, you can go on to kingdomofpineal.org. You can find information on just how to live natural laws. You can see us on Pineal Foundation as well, which is where you can see our gardens and our self-sufficiency and stuff. And then also, if you want to join the Sovereign course, it's on Fridays, 7:45 GMT. You're welcome to join. There's no cost. It's not something I do for funds. If you do want to donate, that's wonderful. But it's really information is free, you know. So it's there as a platform. And Seamoss wise, you'll find us at Vital Moss Co on Instagram. We're sharing everyone's business. Like I said, I'm very inspired by Julien. He's got something similar on Facebook, Seamoss Buyers Club, right?
Yes.
It's called. It's the same, man. Let's connect everyone together. We're stronger together. It's all about unity, einity, togetherness. That's how we win. We don't win when we're separate, you know?
No. Yeah, I agree, 1000%. All right. Well, thanks so much, Ja, for asking me to do this with you. I really appreciate it. It was definitely an enlightening experience, and I can't wait to have more. Is he okay? He froze. Let's give him a second, see if he comes back. Oh. Well, if his video comes back, we'll do something about it. We'll bring him back just to say goodbye. But that was Ja from the Penal Kingdom or organization. I forgot already what he said it was, but definitely interesting, and I think it deserves another show in the future. So I'll get on that, set up a date, and definitely let people have some advance notice on that. And I want to thank everybody that came here and joined us to watch this video. And as we talked about Seamoss, and yeah, until then, I can't, I hope you guys have a great day and a great life, and don't forget to take your Seamoss. I'll see you.